All right, y'all, 2020 vision realignment and the big freeze and the double emergence of the cicadas and the two horses running bloody through London and the horses running through the cities and such, okay? In order to get the horse to drink or to get the beast to drink, you have to run them first. And this is part of that critical race that started before, and we got that Iran coming next, okay? And then that Iran after that is when the gas and oil and all these things are affected and you're running, okay? You're running around. So this is part of that losing weight for that balance to lighten the loads, because the balance riders are going to be out of whack. And as they have you standing for entertainment now, you'll stand 2 hours for a roller coaster and not flip out. You'll be fine. And then you won't wait 2 hours for your food and for things that give you actual life and these things. So as the climate czar powers being given to Biden, that's a big freeze in another way. And then you have the big freeze with them announcing that they can freeze Russian assets. And then today, Russia is doing the flip on the banks, and you have them doing the freeze on the JP Morgan Chase Bank over there, all right? So the Chase Bank ties to that Keyhole Chase Bank and Dallas Tower, and then it ties to the construction site that Trump visited in front of the JP Morgan, that new building they're making. And then that construction site ties to those portalets that I talked about. And the video they showed on Daily Mail, it looks like poop on a toilet paper thing. And then you have the lady attacking Alec Baldwin or whatever. It looks like she's wearing toilet paper around her neck for that whiplash. And then the whiplash is knocking those horses running free or whatever. So we've been seeing these horses running. So this is part of running those beasts. And as the spirit is coming to the carnal. Okay. So as the beasts are there, then the beast within is going to take over. And this is where the beastmen are actually running around or whatever. Okay. Because they didn't see the future. They didn't get their electric car or electric bike or electric scooter or whatever's going on here, where you, or a bicycle even, okay? But the bicycle for the Biden years, those are all coming together. So you have the Armageddon or the Armageddon. Those are unfolding, okay? You have the Abaddon or the Abaddon. Those are both breaking up. They both have the keys to the pits, okay, or the pit. But that's tied to the hospital, and that's also tied to the pit and the pi t and those things. So, so the time that's breaking open, okay, we have multiple 3 scores lining up. We have Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel. We have Trump, Giuliano, Meadows. We have Walmart, Home Depot, Verizon. They're actually saying now and reporting that you don't need the degree anymore to get that high-level job. And this is part of the weight balance being changed up as well, okay? And then the degrees aren't needed, so the temperature, hell, is kind of going down in a way, all right? So this is where the frogs are already cooked. So as the burners are turned off, this is where they get heated inside. Okay, because they're realizing they're cooked and those types of things. So the construction site, that ties to the portalets, and how the portalet, we saw the potholes being filled at the bridge site. And that was like a direct attack. And just now they're saying, oh, well, let's look into it. It could be an attack. So that's how that kind of stack is going. All right, folks. So the climate czar stuff is kind of the big freeze in another way, to where he can come in and say this, that, and the other. And then the church, the religious people, which is people of the world or whatever, because there's a religion of the world. But this is when they rise up, because the Satan is being taken away and Jesus is coming. All right, so Satan within is going to rise up, and the Satan people, the children of hell, are going to clash together. Okay, so the scribes and Pharisees are the people in the church, but it's also the people that are teaching any type of religion. So that's your hospitals, that's your dentists, that's all these types of, that's your grocery stores where they have like the heads of the beast and a box for the ox in the middle, and then they have the so-called live or the craft on the outside, which is the craft is what brings the creation in there. We can either buy that created shit, or you can make your own shit. All right. The making is where you're the king of kings in a way. But, or they're, either way it goes. So, as, the church is going to realize they're left behind and they're in end times, this is where the false prophet comes out to be known. And the smoke screen is gone, because you're at that end of the stage where the stage is being reset. And as they're resetting the stage or whatever, it fills with smoke. And we've been seeing smoke rise on the stage. So as these things all rise up, there's that big final smoke screen. Everything's kind of turned off. The projections changed, and then we got to start the new reel. And that's what's very close. And the 2020 vision that I've warned you about, and the critical race and the invasion and the war upon America, internal, external, the foreheads, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, all right? And one of those has an old FU on there in the old kids game or whatever, right? So these are all coming together. And the warning is almost up. And as we've done the 3 scores, we're going to get the cicadas and 6. And the 6 is tied to the King Don coming to gather his army of hellions, which is the Trump army and the people of religion with people of the world. All this because the world is given over to Satan. And as Satan is losing his kingdom and Jesus is coming forth, the Antichrist, the anti-man, these men are acting within, and it's going to be a force to where these people are going to be taken by the earth, and it matters, by Jesus, by the Hesus, by the people who have these keys that have taken them. Their heaven and hell's out there, and this is where the keys are being dangled in front of the beast, but they think it's the food, and it's a bait and switch. I don't really know how to bring all this stuff together. The wormwood water is going to be served to these beasts, and as they're not used to the clean living water, the death that's going to rise in with them, these are the times that the death are going to be gathered, and they're going to seek death, and the shall not finds it. The climate czar, the freeze on the money, the Iran, the Russia, the China, the Mexico border stuff. I've told you all these things are coming, and they're all playing out in your reality right today. And we were shown the crossroads of America. And as we were shown the crossroads of America with the eclipse, we're given that 6 hours on the cross until the death comes. And we can see these things stacking up. And the 42 months on the short count of 5-3 line up to the 42 months of the July 20th of this month, or this year. And then that lines up to the end of the tribulation for September. And you're in the middle time frame. And Trump met those construction workers at the Midtown, Manhattan. And he's at Manhattan. And we're in that mid-dills, the middle of the 70 weeks as it's wrapping up. And we've seen the wrapping ups from the Taylor Swift wrapping ups. And we've tracked some other wrapping ups. But not to get off on that rabbit trail, the universe, the universities, the Big Bang, that two-wish sun, the two-wish N, these things are all part of that double emergence and those two horses, okay? So the big freeze ties into the EU, and that's the Euphrates, and probably the replay of the Chernobyl, and where we could see Paris bombed, or maybe Belgium as that bell is rang, or Spain for some pain, or those types of things. However, these things are worked in, or we might see UK, London bombed. Okay, and then London being bombed would cause a tidal wave upon the shores of the Europe. And Europe is part of the noose and the rope for the hanging, for the self-hanging and the suicide and those types of things. For the suicide, for the SU, the US on the backside, for the sides, picking sides, for the left and right or whatever, okay? So as Abaddon and Abaddon are gathering the armies of hell to create the next World War II, World War I, Vietnam, Korean Civil, Revolution, all these things are stacking, okay? And America is going to go through a time of no other. And instead of waiting in lines for roller coasters, you're going to be waiting in lines to live. Okay, and this is where the rations lead up to the rats in, and the rain stops the rain, and the rain's built on the rain. All these things are spiritual to the carnal to gather up the eyes and ears. Okay, so depending what part of the chakra you're using, and when you're hearing these things, you might be hearing me from a lion, or an ox, or an eagle, or a man, and that's going to depend on how things click. And this is where Jesus, inside of us, he's taking the key through other men and whatever, and they're trying to keep things from you. I'm trying to give you some keys back, okay? I got the living water for the beast to drink. I know it may taste a little bitter at first, but you're drinking bitter water, so you don't know what clean water tastes like. And this is kind of tying into the waters that Jesus had to offer them, where he changed the water into wine, because they came hearing one thing and they left hearing another. Okay? So these things are teaching as literal water into wine is there to blind you as the monkey man, so you can't see these things. We're going to end it here because of time. We're going to wrap it up.